Hello and welcome to episode 104 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is July 26th, 2021. And before I tell you all about the things I knit and crochet during my holidays the last 2 weeks, or almost all of them, did I say almost? Anyway, before I start on that, I'll show you what I'm wearing. I am wearing a very beautiful shawl. The pattern is called Afternoon Tea, and if I remember correctly, it's available on knitty.com, so it's a free pattern. And I used a gradient yarn, and the company, or the woman who dyed this yarn, calls her company 100 Farbspiele, which means something like play with 100 colors. And I just love her gradients. I think she does the most beautiful and artistic color gradients and color combinations. And when I called her to ask if I could sell her yarn in my shop, which I'm doing, there's a few balls of those yarns left over there. We talked for quite a while, and then she said she was going to send me one of her yarns for free to try it out, to test it before I place my order. And this is the color she sent me, and I think it's very beautiful, and it's absolutely my colors, and I love it. And so I had to knit it straight away, and I found this pattern and they work really well together. I made the shawl a bit larger than the original pattern because I wanted to use as much of the yarn as possible so that I could show all the colors. I think the original pattern only has 4 of those pattern repeats, but then I wouldn't have had this last turquoise color, which I love. So I just kept repeating the same pattern, and I think I changed the border a little bit. I can't remember, it's a few years ago that I knit this, but I think that wasn't difficult. And then I think the picot bind off is in the pattern, but the beads aren't. So that was another idea I had. I had these beads which are the exact same color as the yarn at this point, and I added in the beads, and I think I counted the beads and I calculated how many picots I would have, and it's possible I even knitted more picots because I had more beads, something like that. But I like just this little bit of something different at the edge, and I love to have beads on the edge of my shawl, so they are just this little bit heavier and they sit nicely, I think. Yeah, so that's the shawl. That's something old, and this is something new. It's my finished project from last video, and it's a crochet top. I simply crochet 2 squares. I crochet them together at the sides. This is the length of the top, and I crocheted I think a quarter of the square together on each shoulder, and that's it. That's all I did. I had no finishings, no edgings, just the last round of crochet. The pattern for the square is out of the book. Oops. I should have brought the book, I forgot. I'll link the book down under the video. The designer is called Yumiko Alexander, and it's modern crochet something. And I changed the pattern quite a bit. So the original pattern I think only goes to here, and then you're supposed to crochet several of those and crochet them together, and you get shrug kind of thing, I think. I don't know. I just like the pattern, and I decided to just keep going. So I sort of finished this motif here, brought it to a point, and I like the way it sort of forms a nice line at the lower edge. And I used Catania. That's a cotton yarn by Schachenmeier, and this is the glitter version of it. And I used 1 strand of white glitter cotton yarn and light grey glitter cotton yarn held together. So it's not, yeah, it's fairly heavy, but I like it. I like it, and because of all the holes in it and everything, it's still a nice light top for summer. But in winter, I could even wear it over a long sleeve shirt or something, and I can basically wear it all year round. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. Then on to finished objects, and I finished 2 pairs of socks during my holiday. I was working on 5 pairs at some point. I started off with 4 pairs. 1 sock I started during the holiday, and as I said, 2 pairs I finished. The first pair is this one, Else's Estonian lace socks. It was a test knit I did for the designer, and the pattern had already been published by I forgot, but I linked it to the original pattern on my project page, and the designer has now decided to add some more different sizes, and I think also changed a few things around, and that's why she called for another test, and I tested the small size. Yeah, really happy with these socks. Can't wait to give them to the recipient, and as soon as I've done that, I can get some photos when she wears the socks, and I'll put them on my project page on Ravelry. Yeah, this is so I think already working on sock number 2, so there wasn't that much to be done, and I finished those. And the other pair of socks that I finished are the alpaca, pure baby alpaca spiral socks that I knitted for my grandmother-in-law. And just in case you don't know how spiral socks work, you knit knits and purls in a spiral fashion, and because of the spiral, the sock is really elastic, and then when you put it on, you don't have to knit a heel or anything, and it will just sort of fit and adjust to whatever foot is inside the sock. I decided to do that so that I didn't have to knit for a certain size, even though I know my grandmother-in-law's shoe size. She's had quite a bit of trouble with her feet, and so they're a bit swollen in some places, and it's difficult to get the socks to really fit her perfectly. So I thought with these spiral socks and using more stitches than I would normally do for her size, they are really very elastic, and they should fit her no matter what her feet are like at that day. And they are super soft and really warm, and I hope she can have really nice warm feet when she either sits on her sofa or lies in bed, especially in autumn and winter when it gets cold again. She can have these. And I knitted 1 ball of blue yarn for both of the socks, and the yarn was almost completely used up, so I think maybe I had 1 meter or 2 meters left. And so this is what you get out of a 50-gram DK weight alpaca yarn. And I didn't say it's not a sock yarn, it's a DK weight yarn, and as it's pure alpaca, I wouldn't recommend wearing those socks in shoes or run around in them a lot, but they're really meant to be worn in bed or on the sofa just to keep nice and warm. And I decided to do black toe, so just for fun. I would have had more blue yarn, but I thought it was funny just to have a bit of a difference there. And I didn't want to go for a bright colour for my grandmother-in-law. She's 95 years old, so I thought she probably wouldn't care for a pink toe or something. But I thought black should be fine. Yeah, so that's the second finished object for today. And then on with works in progress, and as usual, I'll continue with the socks. So I knitted on my second pair of Sweet Rose socks. That was one of the patterns from the Sockmadness, and for the madness itself I used a different yarn that showed the pattern more clearly, but I first started with this color and decided instead of ripping it out, I would finish the socks and I will donate them for the organization who help women with ovarian cancer, and they ask for green socks to be donated, so they will get these socks once they're finished. And as I'm not knitting in the competition anymore, I changed the pattern a little bit. So the foot itself and the heel are as per the pattern, and then I added one more repeat of this pattern before I started with this pattern, and then the original has 2 of those motifs on top of each other, but that makes for really long socks, so I decided to do just one of these, and that's why I put in a little bit more here. And then in these fields I am going to embroider roses. That's in the pattern, and then I did the ribbing as the pattern says. And that's sock number 1. I think that was finished before I went on holiday. And this is sock number 2. So I finished knitting the foot. I might have even finished the foot before I went on holiday. I don't remember. But I knitted the heel while I was on holiday. And I think I've done the repeat that I sort of added in and just started on the chart for this pattern. Yeah, so didn't do a whole lot on this sock, but I'm glad I finished the heel. It's a new to me heel. I did it for the first time when I knit the first pair of Sweet Roses socks, and I still can't knit it by heart, so I always have to look at the pattern. But it looks quite nice. I think it feels nice when you put the sock on, so I might use it again. We'll see about that. Yeah, so that's the Sweet Rose socks number 2. Then I did quite a bit of work on my blue stockings. That's the pattern by Kate Davies, and I've received several more patterns from her ebook that I bought, but I haven't started any of these yet because I want to finish these first. And this is what the pattern looks like on the front of the sock. And I had already finished both feet. I'm knitting them 2 at a time. And I think I hadn't started the increases for the calf before the holiday. So that's what I did during the holiday. I figured out where to start with the increases. I probably could have started a little earlier, but it's fine, it's fine. I decided to do the increases a bit more quickly than the pattern calls for because I started fairly late, and I think I did a few increases less than the pattern calls for because now it fits my leg exactly. So I decided that's enough increases, and I was hoping to be at a point where I can start the ribbing, but I'm not. So I have to I probably have to knit another one of these patterns. So I've done those, and now I do the pattern in the middle again. And yeah, I want to do the whole thing, and then I will see how far up my leg I am, and if I'm pretty sure I can start the ribbing then. And then I'll have to see how much ribbing I can knit with the yarn I have. And but I've already decided that I wanted to do at least the bind off in a darker blue, so that I could knit the whole 100-gram ball of yarn into my socks and then do the last round or the bind off with the dark blue. But if I have to do another pattern repeat, I might have to do the whole ribbing in a different color, but we'll see. So adding a dark blue is no problem, and I do want to add a different color again so that I can show how far exactly I was able to knit with 100 grams. And I put one of the socks on a sock blocker so you can see what it looks like. It's an interesting heel construction. It's, as you can see, it's knit toe up, and yeah, very happy with the fit so far. So as you can see, the sock is longer than the sock blocker. I don't have blockers for knee-high socks. And this is going to be this is the increase for the calf. Yeah, looks a bit weird now. But I thought maybe it's, you can imagine what the whole thing looks like a little better with the sock blocker in. So these were all the socks that I had already started when I went on holiday, and the sock that I started while I was on holiday, I showed the yarn in my last video, because this is one of the new colors out of the Rainforest series by Opal, and the color is called Sven Runs Ahead or something like that. So all the colors have football terms, and but because this color is called Sven and my husband's called Sven, I decided I was going to knit him socks for his birthday, which is already passed. But he doesn't mind getting his birthday present late. So this is the sock that I started knitting for him. It's a very simple one. I didn't use a pattern. I at first thought I was just going to do a rib pattern the whole leg and on top of the foot, but then I decided just for fun to stop doing the rib, sort of gradually stop doing that and increase the stockinette bit at the back of the leg, just like that, just for fun. I did my usual fish lips kiss heel, and now I'm on the foot, and I still have quite a bit to go as he has rather long feet. But he's a tall guy, so that's to be expected. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the colors knit up. And yeah, so I enjoy knitting on these a lot. Yeah, so that's all the socks I knit on during the holiday. I did not knit on the glacier glacier dress that I'm knitting by Locatelli, and that's because I left the ball of yarn that I would have needed next in the shop, and I only noticed when I packed my stuff the day we were going away, so there was no time to come here and pick it up, so I decided to leave it at home. I had so many other things that I was taking with me. I thought, well, just means it'll take a bit longer to get done, but that's okay. I did knit on the children's heartstring pullover that I've been knitting on with the 2 different colors of 3-ply sock yarn, but I left that at home. And in the same bag where I have the pullover, I put all the green granny squares that I crocheted during the holiday, so I can't show these either. But I will show all these things next week in my podcast. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen the green squares because I posted those throughout the holiday. Yeah, so these are the things that I'm not showing you. What I am showing you is the square shrug or jacket, or not jacket, cardigan. It's probably more a shrug that I started knitting quite a long time ago out of this Opal 100 Wasser yarn, and I wrote down the pattern for this and decided to continue knitting on it, and I did, and I put quite a bit of work in it. So when I left, I think I was about here with 3 pattern repeats, and now I have 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm working on the 7th. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this grew. As you can see, it's exactly a square. And now I can show you what I'm planning to do. Once the square is big enough, I'm going to fold it in half, and I will sew part of this. I will sew a bit together here and a bit on this side, and then those 2 sides, that's going to be the opening, so one will be up, one will be down, and these will be the armholes. And I will probably just put some sort of ribbing or edging around the armhole and around the top and bottom, and then it'll be something really easy to just throw on or just put around my neck or whatever. And yeah, and you can see now that the lines of increases that are in the pattern work perfectly with the increases for the square. So that was my aim. That was why I chose this lace pattern. And yeah, I enjoyed working on that. and the rows are getting a lot longer now. So the beginning was really quick, but now it takes longer and longer to finish a row, but that's okay. And the first ball of yarn has shrunk quite a bit. I'm planning on knitting 3 of those 100-gram balls into this shrug, so I will be knitting on this for quite a while yet. And then I show you the crochet first. I finally picked up the Carnaby crochet along jumper. It's supposed to be a jumper. I will probably make it into a cardigan, and this is the first sleeve. I'd finished the sleeve just a few rows before I left, and I added a few rows. So now I've crocheted every color twice, and with my first Carnaby crochet along with the sock yarn and the bright neon colors, my sleeve had every color 3 times. So maybe I'll do the same length. Maybe I'll make it a little shorter because I'm using a bigger hook for this version than the other one. It's coming out a little bit bigger, and I don't want the sleeves to be too long. They are fairly wide, and I don't mind having wide sleeves, but if they're wide and long at the same time, then I feel they might get in the way when I'm wearing the jacket. So yeah, I will try and make them more like 3/4 length. And so as you can see, I still need to crochet a bit, but maybe not every color. So I don't know yet. We'll see. I'll let you know. So that's again Catania without the glitter, the cotton yarn by Schachenmeier. It's basically the same yarn as this top, just without the glitter. And the next thing I worked on, that's my holiday shawl or vacation shawl that I started knitting years ago after I bought the yarn in Austria when we were on vacation there even more years ago. And then the next holiday I started knitting the shawl, and then I forgot about it, and then I did a bit of work, and then I put it away again, and so on and so forth. And the first part of the shawl is really simple, and I had that done fairly quickly, but then I started on this rather intricate cable pattern, and then I made a mistake and I didn't work on it for quite some time, but then I fixed the mistake and continued knitting, and I have finally finished the cable pattern, and I'm really, really happy about that. So as you can see, it's a beautiful pattern. It's sort of one line that starts at one end of the shawl, and then you can follow it around, and it goes all the way to the other end of the shawl, and you can follow this line the whole way. So this is where it goes from one side to the other side, and then you can follow it to the right to the very end. Yeah, this is either the beginning or the end, and you have one of those on both sides, and this beautiful pattern on the edge of the shawl. Yeah, and after I finished that, I did one of these braids that I hadn't done before. So you get this line of knit stitch that's sort of going the other way than usual, and then you switch colors and you go back to the contrast color that you had here, and you do another of these lines, and then it has a knitted on border. And at first, when I started knitting the shawl, I was thinking of using a different border because I wasn't too happy with the one in the book. But now that it's taken so long to get to that point, I decided I'll just go along with the book. She knows what she's doing, and maybe I can change the look a little bit by the way I block the shawl once it's completely done. And this is what the knitted on edge looks like at the moment. Can't really see a lot because of course it's not blocked. But it will have these like little triangles. Yeah, but I'll have to block them out and then they'll be more visible. Maybe you can see it a bit like this. Yeah, and it's a fairly simple pattern. It's really easy to do. Interestingly enough, it forms another one of these lines on the back of the shawl, which I think is quite funny. I was wondering whether I was doing something wrong to get it on this side, but I think this side looks nice, and I do think I'm doing everything the way it's written in the book, so I'll leave it at that. And I've done this much, which isn't a lot, but still I'm so glad I finished the cable pattern, and yeah, this won't take too long once I sit down and just concentrate on that. Yeah, so that's this beautiful shawl. It's a pattern by Lucy Haig. I'll link the book that the pattern is from underneath the video, so in case you're interested, you can check the book out. Yeah, so that changed the order from what I've written down. But that brings me to the last project for today, and that's the Optic Blanket. And as I haven't shown that in 3 weeks now, so that's 2 weeks of holiday and the last week of work where I didn't show this project, I have added quite a few squares. So that I had already done, and that I had done. And as I promised, I added the red. So now I have a nice line of red, orange and yellow. And then, as I said, I was going to add a black and white one in the middle. So this is the color combination that the original blanket is knit in. And all the squares are just black and white. And I think it looks really nice, and the whole blanket in black and white looks really elegant and classic and everything. But I think I just couldn't knit it. I know I would get bored just knitting black and white all the time. So that's why I decided to do a colorful one. But still, I'm glad to have that one black and white square in my blanket, so I can say this is what it's supposed to look like. But mine is different. And then I started the green square that I wanted to have next to the yellow one, and I did not quite finish it yet. That's part of the reason. I could have knit probably 2 more rounds with the green, but I knew I was going to need another ball of green yarn, and I didn't have that at home or on holidays, so I decided to start it and then just show it off as an unfinished square. Don't think I've ever shown those on the podcast before, but this is what it looks like. So you start from the outside and then you decrease whenever you knit with the main color, and you slip the stitch when you knit with the contrast color. So here you can see I knit with the green, but I slip the black, so that's why it stays black. And then when I go back to the knitting with black, I will do decreases in both the black rows at these 4 points. So this is the current square I'm working on, and yeah, till next week I hope to finish the green square and hopefully add another one. Not quite sure which way to go, either the blue one, the light blue one, or the dark purple one. We'll see. Oh no, no, I'm not doing them both. I'm finishing the green and doing one of the others. That's the plan. So now there's a few more things that I can show you quickly. One of them is I bought 2 books. I was given a gift voucher and I decided to buy books, and I'll show one of them to you now because it's one of the patterns that I'm being asked for most with all the patterns I've knitted and shown so far. Not so much on the English channel because it's an English pattern, but on my German channel I'm always asked about the Baby Surprise Jacket by Elizabeth Zimmermann, and I guess most of you know the pattern. Probably most of you have already knitted it. It's definitely the one pattern that I've knit most often. I don't very often knit the same pattern again, and I don't think I've ever knit the same pattern 12 times or more, but I have knit at least 12 Baby Surprise Jackets. And now I've bought the book The Complete Surprise. So this is a book that Cully Swanson, the grandson of Elizabeth Zimmermann, wrote. And it has the original instructions for the baby surprise jacket, but it also has instructions for children's and adult sweaters. It has instructions for this cute baby thingy. It tells you how you can knit color work surprise jackets like these, and it gives you lots of different variations that you can do with a collar. You can knit a hood, you can put waist shaping, you can change the sleeve length. There's so many things in this book, so I'm really happy to have it, and I'm looking forward to starting the next baby surprise or child surprise, or maybe even another adult surprise jacket. We'll see. So that's one of the things I wanted to show you. And then very quickly I wanted to talk about the fact that I went to visit the company that produces the opal sock yarn that I knit with all the time. And so I picked up a few yarns from their shop. I won't show them here because I don't think you can order them, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to show them to you. But I was given 2 balls of yarn from a new and upcoming series that I think it will be available in November, so it's still some time to go, but I know you can order those, so I'll show them. The name of the series is Herbstmelodie, which means fall or autumn melody, and this color you might recognize because it was one of the abo colors, one of the subscription colors. And this is another color out of that series. And I think it's so beautiful. And I must have mentioned that turquoise is my favorite color, and that's why they gave that to me, which I thought was really nice. And I also picked up a magazine that's brand new. Unfortunately, as far as I know, it's only available in German and Japanese. And they gave me the Japanese version, which I thought was so funny. And yeah, I'll show it again when I start knitting from it. And I will probably buy the German version as well, because there's so much written in it that I can't read. Can't read Japanese. I usually just read oh, I forgot the word. They draw every stitch, whether it's knitting or crochet. The charts. I usually just read the charts, and but this magazine has a lot of text as well, so I might go and get the German version as well. But they said they have, for the Japanese version, they not only translated the language, but they also put different sizes, so it fits. It's more suitable for Japanese people. And as I'm not very tall, I might go with the Japanese sizing. But we'll see about that when I start knitting from it. Yeah, so that's everything I wanted to talk to you about today. That's almost everything that I knit and crochet during the last 2 weeks. The other 2 projects I will show next week. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I spent part of my vacation, and I'll see you in the next one.